Hey, Nick Standard here. First YouTube video I'm making for the Standard fatherhood channel, and here comes the Standard children. Hello, Standard child.
Hi.
Today, actually yesterday, I was using my Rikon 10-inch bandsaw for about an hour. And after a while, I realized, actually after I was done, I went down to the lower wheel and I saw that it was off track, but the top wheel was fine. So I'm going to try and fix realign the bottom wheel today, which many people on the interwebs say that not to do that and that it should never mess with it. But I mean, when you see how far off the blades are, I'm afraid that the blades will nick something, and then my blade will be gone. And then I buy another blade, and then the same thing happens to that one, and I'll just be blowing money down the toilet. Rikon on the instruction manual, I reprinted it out, and I saw that it has a a solution potentially for it. So we're going to experiment with that tonight and see if the Rikon see if this will fix it. A little bit of information on Rikon. I was ridiculously surprised. I got this the 10-inch bandsaw here for 60 bucks with the stand. The 60 bucks off of I don't know, Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist somewhere. Everything was everything was good. The bearings, they were a little bit we're missing one bearing, as you can see. It still operates fairly decent, but the bearings themselves, they're kind of worn. So back there, inside, everything looked good. No problems here with the blade. Well, the blade was a little bit dull, so I had to order a new one, and that it was drifting pretty good when I first got the original blade. But after buying these this Timberwolf 4 tooth per inch, I think it's a 3/8 inch blade. It doesn't drift at all, and it cuts pretty straight through all kinds of wood. So yesterday was the first time I really got to use it. Rikon, they are awesome. I mean, I called them up and I actually spoke to a live person. How many times do you call a company nowadays and you get a recording or somebody else? I mean, I called them and Rikon, like, oh, for real? Rikon? And then they transferred me to parts department. They got a list of the parts that I needed and they shipped it out. And, they said 7 to 10 business days. But I'm really happy with it. And I can't believe Rikon is... you call up and you get somebody. So if in the future I have money, I'm going to be probably buying Rikons. Alright, so as you can see, top blade is tracking pretty well up here. Where's my hand? It's tracking pretty well up here. Alright, so the top saw, I'm not sure if you can see it very well. Let's see if I can focus more. Alright, there we go. It's running pretty well in the middle of the wheel. But when you get down below, that's when you're going to see the blades coming off the wheel. And I'm just afraid that the sharp blade's going to nick something metal, I don't know, then dull it down, and then it's going to be a whole mess of things I don't want. So I'm going to try and fix that tonight. So Rikon Rikon suggested that I mess with the back, the lower wheel alignment. If you can see, the upper wheel goes up there. This is how you adjust the lower wheel. And simply, it suggested that I make this nut a little loose and then turn this a half a turn. And of course, this is only after there is no more tension on it. So let me go ahead and release the tension. Alright, it's pretty loose now. I don't think there's any tension at all on it. Yeah, it's pretty loose. Alright, it's very loose. So now I'm going to go over here, I'm going to loosen up this bolt here just a hair. Then I'm going to turn this a half. And then once it's been turned, I'll tighten that back up again and then tighten that up. And that should hopefully adjust the blade, and we'll see how it works. Most of all the bolts on this on the Rikon are 10 millimeters. So this is a 10 millimeter wrench from Harbor Freight. We're just going to loosen this up a little bit. Alright, I say that's about good. Then we're going to turn this a half as per the instructions. So let's see, I'm going to bring this, get behind there. Yes, I can. Okay, 1/2 turn, and I'm going to retighten this up. And I'm going to tighten this back up. Actually, no, then it said tighten this one. Righty tighty, so we're going to lefty down here because it's upside down. And you're not seeing it, so the camera back up. As you can see, I have no mount yet. It's my first video. That was loose. Bring it back this way. Okay. Now over here, we're going to re-put tension on it. Alright. Now technically all I want to do is spin this, and hopefully the blade stays in the middle, and it is. Now let's see what happens down south. Still off. Oh, look at that. Nope, still off. Looks like it's off a little bit more on. Let me put some more tension on it. Now the top blade is moving towards the top blade is moving towards the front, and the bottom blade is still off. Let's see where we're at. We're a little more towards the front. Not where I want to be. Alright. Let's get back here, loosen this up. Okay, let's bring it a hair backwards. So I'm going to turn this just a little bit. See what happens. Okay. Went back a hair. How are we doing down here? Still on the edge. Oh man, you're not gonna believe this. I'm spinning this over and over again, right? And down here, I'm looking hard, and I'm seeing. Can you focus? The metal is in the track. The metal is inside between the tires and the wheel. Oh, all right. Let's see what. Let's untension it and go from there. Well, it's about to come off the top now. I don't know what happened. It was tracking beautifully. Now all of a sudden it's about to come off. So let's see if we can get that fixed. So after 20 minutes of tracking, I finally got it on. Not exactly where I want it to be, but it's tough with the small 10-inch Rikon. There's a very, very, very fine line between almost all the way on the front and almost all the way in the back. and it seems like the higher I have it tensioned when I'm tracking it, the thinner that line gets. So it's a mixture of tensioning it and adjusting the upper wheel until I can get it dead center or where I need it to be. And it's kind of tough for a first-time bandsaw user, but this is where I have it now. As you hopefully can see, the top blade is just a shade back. The throat is the throat is a little bit towards the rear, but it's not. The metal teeth aren't much worse than I wanted. I shouldn't say worse. It's the teeth aren't exposed. It ain't bad. I'm gonna leave it like that because it's still running. It's not walking all over the tire, and the teeth are not exposed to any kind of metal. I just hope with the blade being so far back on the bottom wheel that the bearings are like still able to be adjusted to the exact location of the blade. Other than that, I'll set the bearings tomorrow. I'll set the bearings and I'll see how it runs. But if the bearings can't line up right, then I gotta retrack. This thing. Just one more tip: there's no tension meter on this Rikon, so I really don't know how tensioned it should be. I read a portion of a book called the Bandsaw Book, and it told me that these 10 inches really can't be over tensioned. So I'm confident just making it, when I'm using it, making it as tense, not tense as I can mightily grip, but tense enough where I'm comfortable that the blade won't snap and it's pretty tight. But I want to show you this. As you can see, there is no tension gauge at all on the Rikon. It's just the upper wheel adjustment and the tension gauge up here. So I went ahead and I made a little line right there. That's the line where I bring this down and it's not tensioned when it hits that line. But when I bring it up, as I turn this, obviously I bring it up and this component here rises up higher, obviously, and then this portion here goes past that black line, symbolizing that it's tensioned. I don't have a mark for where I want it to be tensioned. I just kind of feel for it, and then once I'm comfortable with where it's tensioned, then I just tighten it up. I also noticed with the Rikon, when you are adjusting the upper wheel and you want to lock it in place, when you use the lock, the wing nut to lock in the adjustment, it throws off the whole wheel. So I can't really tighten the wing nut too tight, and in the middle of tracking. Otherwise, the blade will start walking all over the wheel or walking in a different direction. So you have to tighten it just a little bit, just so it won't wobble on its own. But honestly, it's probably not going to walk on its own. It's pretty tight if it's tensioned pretty high. Well, that's my first YouTube video for the Standard Fatherhood channel. I'm Nick Standard, and thank you very much.